Indomitable Tech warmly invites both aspiring and experienced writers to explore the art of academic expression. Whether you are new to writing or a seasoned pro, our module offers meticulous guidance to equip you with essential academic writing tools. Beyond mere skills, we ignite a passion for intellectual exploration, encouraging you to shape ideas that spark conversations and drive meaningful change. Imagine the thrill of constructing prose that not only shapes your academic journey, but also leaves an enduring impact on readers and discourse. Join a vibrant community where words evolve into instruments of transformation and ideas resonate to create a lasting imprint. Dive into the art of crafting captivating introductions, persuasive arguments, and refined conclusions under our expert guidance. Beyond writing, this is an empowerment journey where words become tools to shape narratives and elevate intellectual potential. Join us on a journey where words become more than text. They become vehicles for growth, empowerment, academic excellence. Hit that subscribe button and embark on a journey of academic odyssey that will reshape the way you perceive and wield the written word. Academic writing is the use of formal, objective, and technical language in writing. We shall look at how to apply the formal, objective, and technical languages in writing. Let's begin with how to apply formal language. Number 1, choose formal vocabulary over informal terms, e.g., somewhat instead of a bit. Avoid contractions, e.g., use did not instead of didn't. Steer clear of emotional language. Replace wonderful with helpful. And lastly, use cautious evaluation instead of absolute positives or negatives, e.g., strong evidence instead of proof. How do we apply objective language? Maintain objectivity even when expressing opinions. Number 2, shift focus to ideas instead of people and feelings in your sentences. Number 3, substitute non-technical evaluative words with technical terms, e.g., valid instead of amazing. Number 4, minimize emotional language, e.g., harmful effects instead of abusing. Number 5, show caution with modality to allow differing views, e.g., possibility instead of certainty. And lastly, cite authoritative sources that align with your viewpoint. How do we apply technical language? Number 1, develop a specialized vocabulary for your discipline. Number 2, take note of terminology from lectures, readings, and tutors. Number 3, understand meanings of technical terms specific to your field. And lastly, grasp key categories and relationships in your discipline for organized writing. Types of academic papers: narrative or descriptive paper. It tells a story, often in the first person. It applies artistic style with specific tone, setting, characters, plot, climax, and conclusion. It should be creative and provide a thoughtful presentation. Number 2, research paper. It should be formal and concise. It is based on credible research and critical evaluation. It is structured with literature review, methodology, data analysis, and results and discussion. It should use inclusive language, formal tone, and a third person form of writing. The present tense is used for well-accepted facts, while the past tense is used for specific results. Number 3, argumentative or persuasive essay. It aims to convince using logic, evidence, and reasoning. It addresses opposing views. Argumentative argues for an opinion, while persuasive directly persuades. Get that clearly. Argumentative argues for an opinion, while persuasive directly persuades. It has the following sections: introduction, logical body paragraphs, counter-arguments, and conclusion. It may include rhetorical devices, and first or second person are used in this case of writing. Always follow instructions as provided by the client. Number 4, book or movie review. It presents plot details and context. It has the following sections: introduction, main points, that is the body, and powerful conclusion. It aids decision to read or watch by capturing attention and reflecting on the content. Number 5, article review. It summarizes and evaluates articles. It includes important points, flaws, and personal reflection. It has the following sections: introduction, the body, which has got the summary and critique, and finally, the conclusion. Number 6, annotated bibliography. This is a list of sources with critical evaluations. It answers relevance for main research. It offers third-person writing. Alphabetical listing should be used, and it should provide paragraph annotations. Number 7, literature review. It summarizes, evaluates, and clarifies literature. It is part of research paper or standalone assignment. It describes, summarizes, evaluates, and clarifies existing works. Number 8, summary. It briefly presents main ideas. It includes introduction, thesis, and source identification. It focuses on writers' ideas, not your own. Get that very clearly. Focuses on writers' ideas, not your own. That is a summary. And lastly, it may quote rhetorical devices accurately. Number 9, rhetorical analysis. It analyzes authors' strategies, appeals, style, and audience. It evaluates authors' success in conveying ideas. And lastly is the admission essay. This is first-person CV for educational institutions. It includes autobiographical details, goals, experiences, and skills. It captures attention and portrays a desirable student. Remember, each type of paper has its own unique characteristics and requirements. Adapt your writing style and approach accordingly to meet the objective of each type. Life hacks for writers. Number 1, credible sources. Utilize online scholarly databases like JSTOR and Google Scholar for the latest research in various fields. Refer to reputable newspapers and magazines like New York Times, Time, and The Guardian. Access books on Google Books, especially recent ones within last 5 years. Ensure the publication date is recent for up-to-date information. For hard-to-access sources, consider using a BugMeNote for logging information, Library Genesis for free book uploads, and Sci-Hub for academic articles. Listen to this again. For hard-to-access sources, consider using BugMeNote. That is a website for logging information. Library Genesis, which is also a website for free book uploads, and Sci-Hub, which is also a website for academic articles. Citation Generator can assist in finding and formatting appropriate sources. Number 2, effective Googling. Tailor Google searches with specific commands. For example, climate changes Google Books for books. Climate changes PDF for scholarly articles. Climate changes statistics for facts. Climate changes science or scholar for reliable sources. And finally, climate changes graphs, search, pictures for visual statistics. Additional search commands can refine results based on what you are checking online. Number 3, dealing with file formats. Be aware of file formats like pages, numbers, key, and their equivalents. Therefore, convert file formats using online tools like Cloud Convert, Online Convert, and Free File Convert. Extract text from screenshots or scanned PDFs using Online OCR. Get that again clearly. Convert file formats using online tools like Cloud Convert, Online Convert, and Free File Convert. Extract text from screenshots or scanned PDFs with Online OCR. That is Online OCR. Let's move on to number 4, effective paraphrasing. Read the paragraph and note important points. Set aside the source and explain the main ideas using your notes. Number 5, handling unclear instructions. Google quoted instructions for potential online sources. Check college websites for course syllabus or codes or college names as provided. Ask the customer for clarification through the chat. Number 6, enhancing language diversity. Use word hippo or thesaurus for synonyms and antonyms. Number 7, math problem solver. Use Wolfram Alpha for expert level answers to mathematical tasks. Listen to this again. Use Wolfram Alpha for expert level answers to mathematical tasks. To conclude, always feel free to use these tools and strategies to enhance your writing process. Referencing styles. Number 1, MLA. This one is used in humanities, especially language and literature writing. It has parenthetical citations in text with alphabetical list of works cited at the end. So for MLA, it has a list of works cited at the end. Number 2, APA referencing. It is a variant of Harvard style. It has the author date citation in text. Full citation is provided in the reference list. Reference list instead of bibliography. Hope you are noting the difference. For MLA, we are using the work cited page at the end. For APA, we are using the reference list, or basically references at the end. Different citation format for websites and no access date needed. That is for APA edition. And we've got the APA 6th and the 7th edition. You can check online for more details on how those two are different. Number 3, Chicago style. 2 options: brief citations in text or footnotes. Check department's preferred format. That should be either Harvard style or footnote. So you should always check your department or the department of the client that is preferred. Should they use the Harvard style in Chicago style or the footnote style? Always confirm so that that is clear. Also check online on how that is structured. The 2 options, the brief citations in text or footnotes. Let's move on to number 4, which is Harvard referencing, also called the author date style. In-text citations are provided in brackets or footnotes. Uses author's surname, publication date, and optionally the page number. Full details only are provided in the bibliography or the reference list. Therefore, for the Harvard style, we have the bibliography at the end, or what you call the reference list. Let's move on to number 5, the MHRA, referencing for English literature. Note that MHRA, referencing for English literature, differentiates between primary and secondary texts. In-text citations mostly are provided in footnotes. Full details are provided in footnotes on first mentioned, then shortened version later. Consistency in chosen method is important. Therefore, if you choose to provide short footnotes, let that be consistent throughout your text. Let's now move on to number 7, MHRA referencing for film, theater, and television. This version uses the author date version. In-text citations are provided in brackets in text, and full details are provided at the end in a bibliography. Let's move on to number 8, Scholar referencing. Scholar referencing. Oxford Standard for citation of legal authorities. Therefore, Scholar is the Oxford Standard that you used in legal authorities. Used in legal studies, that is, law cases and statutes. In-text citations are used in form of footnotes. Specific abbreviations for legal sources. Follow guidelines provided by the school. So always consult with the client. How should you apply the scholar referencing on their papers? Let's move forward to number 9, Oxford referencing. In-text citations are provided in form of footnotes. Full details in footnotes on the first mentioned. Then you shorten on other later mentions. Hope that is clear. On the first mention in a footnote, you provide full details of that footnote or of that citation. Then later on, you provide the shortened version. And lastly, we are looking at Vancouver. That is number 10 is Vancouver or numeric referencing. Numeric style is used. Sources are numbered in order of appearance. Same number for repeated sources. Reference list is provided with full details. Optional, separate bibliography for additional sources not cited. So always when applying the Vancouver style, always ensure you provide an optional, separate bibliography for additional sources that have not been cited in your work. Outline of a paper. Unless stated otherwise by the client, always use this standard form of outline of any form of writing. Unless stated explicitly by the client that you should write a summary always follow this standard form of writing. This is the standard outline of a paper. First, you should always have a topic for your paper. After the topic, you start with the introduction. What does the introduction engage, or what are the possible ideas that should be under the introduction? Start with an attention grabber. Provide a short story, example, statistic, or historical context related to your topic that grabs the reader's attention. Give an overview of any issues involved with the subject. Define any key terminology needed to understand the topic. Quote or paraphrase sources revealing controversial nature of the subject. These should only be applied in argumentative papers. That is, you quote or paraphrase sources revealing the controversial nature of the subject. Then highlight background information on the topic needed to understand the direction of the paper. Write an antithesis paragraph, that is, presenting the primary opposing views, and this should only be done in an argumentative paper. Then finally, at the end of each and every introduction, always have what you call a thesis statement. Compose a clear and concise thesis statement that outlines the main focus and points of the paper. After the introduction, we get into the body of the paper. The body of the paper should contain 4 main points, or at least 3 main points. Your points should have, you state the main point, you provide examples, details, and explanations each and every time you are doing or you are getting into the body segment. You start with the 1 point or your first main point, which will be the main point or the primary point, and under the main point, the first main point, you should be able to state the point, give its details, give examples, and give explanations. That should be done for the second main point, the third main point, and possibly the fourth main point. After the 4 main points, that is for the basic outline of a paper, you get into the conclusion. So, what should be under the conclusion? Listen to this. First, you should have a reworded thesis. Restate your thesis in different words. Briefly summarize each main point found in the body of the paper. Avoid going over 2 sentences for each point. Give a statement of the consequences of not embracing the position. That should be done for an argumentative essay or for an argumentative paper. Then you should have a clincher statement. Craft a strong concluding sentence that ties the paper's theme together and, if possible, relates back to the attention grabber. So I think that is now clear. Always have an introduction, the body, and conclusion. I've shared with you what should be under each section. So these are additional tips in regard to the outline of a paper. Decide on the thesis and main points first. You do not need to start writing your paper with introduction. Use transitions between main points and between examples within the main points. Always keep your thesis in the forefront of your mind while writing. Everything in your paper must point back to the thesis or the thesis statement. This outline provides a framework for structuring your academic paper. Replace the placeholders with your actual paper topic and audience, as well as the relevant information and details. This format will help you to organize your thoughts and ideas coherently, making the writing process smoother and paper more effective. So, unless it has been stated by the client otherwise, always ensure you have an introduction, the body, and the conclusion as I've shared with you in that section. Types of essays. The following are the main types of essays. Number 1, narrative essay. What is the purpose of a narrative essay? To tell a story while conveying a point. What is its use? It is used to share history, entertainment, instruction, and insight. The following are the guidelines while writing a narrative essay. Use specific point in the thesis statement. Always involve readers through dialogue and description. Sequence events chronologically, that is, using flashbacks and foreshadowing. And lastly, choose first person or third person viewpoints. Number 2, descriptive essay. What is the purpose of a descriptive essay? To vividly describe a topic using sensory details. What is its use? It is used to appeal to sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. What are the guidelines when writing a descriptive essay? You should use active verbs and varied sentence types. Avoid vague language. Create dominant impression. And lastly, use comparisons, that is, similes, metaphors, and personification. Number 3, comparison and contrast essay. What is the purpose of comparison and contrast essay? To compare or contrast two or more subjects. What are the guidelines when writing a comparison or contrast essay? Clear purpose and main point should always be stated. Choose point by point or subject by subject organization. Include subjects, state main points in the thesis statement, and finally, include significant characteristics and details. Let's move forward to number 4, cause and effect essay. What is the purpose of cause and effect essay? To analyze causes or effects of events or situations. What is its use? It is used to show the causes and effects. What are the guidelines of writing a cause and effect essay? Have a clear purpose, that is, main idea in the thesis statement. Multiple causes of one effect or vice versa. Choose logical organization, that is, chronological or most to least organization. And finally, explain causes and or effects with details. Number 5, argumentative essay. What is the purpose of an argumentative essay? To present a claim and provide evidence to support it. What are the guidelines when writing an argumentative essay? Choose a narrow issue. Clearly state belief in the thesis statement. Anticipate readers' views. Use convincing details from reliable sources. Choose inductive or deductive argument structure. And finally, address opposing viewpoints. Number 6, classification or division essay. What is the purpose of classification or division essay? To categorize topics or analyze a topic's parts. What are the guidelines? Decide classification or division method. Make categories clear with descriptions. And lastly, mention main subject in the thesis statement. Method should also be mentioned if necessary. Please note that these points are very important when writing any form of essay in academic writing. Tips on Creating an essay draft or outline. Number 1, create a list of main points. Number 2, identify important and relevant points. Number 3, group related points together. Number 4, choose appropriate evidence to support each point. Number 5, establish a logical order for your points. Number 6, divide broad ideas into manageable units. And lastly, combine short ideas using broader topic sentences. Tips on writing an abstract. An abstract is optional and summarizes the entire paper. It includes the purpose, research problem, study design, major findings, interpretations, and conclusions. Therefore, keep it self-contained and around 150 to 200 words. Note this, an abstract doesn't replace the introduction. Therefore, where you have an abstract, you should also have an introduction. Next, tips on crafting an engaging introduction. Number 1, start with a hook to grab attention. Number 2, provide context and background. Number 3, show the importance of the topic. Number 4, move from general to specific, leading to a clear thesis statement. Number 5, the thesis sets the direction of the essay. Finally, you can write the introduction after the body to align it with the content. Tips on qualities of a quality body paragraph. Number 1, start with a topic sentence. Number 2, include supporting evidence, that is, quotes and paraphrases. Number 3, integrate outside sources with your own writing. Number 5, analyze evidence to connect it to the next topic sentence. And lastly, end with a concluding sentence linking to the next paragraph. Then, structuring body paragraphs. What are the tips of structuring body paragraphs? Number 1, topic sentence introduces the paragraph's idea. Number 2, support the idea with evidence and analysis. Number 3, concluding sentence wraps up the argument and connects to the thesis. Number 4, one paragraph per idea and should be logically sequenced. Number 5, no less than 3 to 4 sentences per paragraph. And lastly, logical connections between sentences and paragraphs. Transitions between and within paragraphs. What are the tips of transitions between and within paragraphs? Use transitions to connect paragraphs logically. First sentence transition references the previous claim and introduces the next topic. Number 3, last sentence transition states the main point's significance and connects to the next idea. And number 4, use transitional words, pronouns, thematic vocabulary, etc. And lastly, maintain smooth connections for clear writing. Tips on crafting a proper conclusion. Number 1, restate the thesis statement. Number 2, briefly summarize key ideas without excessive detail. Number 3, synthesize to show the logic of your argument. And finally, make a closing statement that leaves an impression. When should one cite in academic writing? Citing is essential to prevent plagiarism, which involves using others' work without proper acknowledgement. Plagiarism encompasses presenting someone else's ideas, words, data, or concepts as your own. Cite in the following cases. Number 1. Others' ideas, opinions, or theories. Number 2. Uncommon facts, statistics, graphs, etc. Number 3. Direct quotations and paraphrases. However, note the following. Common knowledge doesn't need citation, but original conclusions drawn from common knowledge should always be cited. Let's now look at quotations, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Use quotations, paraphrasing, or summarizing to incorporate sources. Quotations must match the original, while paraphrasing and summarizing are in your own words. Use quotations when the source wording is crucial. Short quotes, that is, less than 4 lines, go in text with quotation marks and citations. Long quotes, that is, more than 4 lines, are indented without quotation marks. Use ellipses to condense long quotes while maintaining context. Paraphrasing rephrases source content in your own style, while summarizing captures main points in a shorter form, always attributed. Let's now look at academic writing conventions. Number 1, avoid contractions and phrasal verbs. Number 2, replace vague language with precise terms. Number 3, refrain from rhetorical questions, lazy words, exclamation marks, and dashes. Number 4, minimize personal language, be objective, and avoid emotion. Number 5, eliminate vague references and incomplete sentences. Number 6, employ clear, concise sentences and avoid wordiness. Number 7, use domain-appropriate terminology and synonyms to avoid repetition. Let's now look at transitional elements for coherence. Transitional words and phrases connect sentences and paragraphs. They are used to show addition, comparison, proving, exceptions, time, repetition, emphasis, sequence, examples, and also conclusion in sentences. These guidelines outline how to effectively use citations, integrate sources, adhere to academic writing conventions, and employ transitional elements. By following these practices, your paper will be well structured, properly cited, and coherent, demonstrating your grasp of the material and contributing to the academic discourse. Let us now look at the do's and don'ts of academic writing. What are the do's? First, paraphrase and acknowledge authors to avoid plagiarism. Number 2, boost word count by incorporating relevant ideas, providing examples, and clarifying statements. Decrease word count by removing unnecessary phrases, weak arguments, passive voice, and redundant phrases. And use inclusive writing by avoiding assumptions about gender. Those are the do's. What are the don'ts in academic writing? Using paraphrasing tools. They often result in poor context understanding. Engaging in patch writing, as it is considered plagiarism. Fill word count with meaningless phrases. Never fill words in academic writing. Lastly, attempting to use platforms like Course Hero for plagiarism. It is detectable. Hope that is clear. The do's and the don'ts. Let us now look at list of online tools that are necessary for writers. All the online tools that each and every writer who wants to get into writing or each and every pro should have. Number one, and I'll request you as you are going through them, jot them somewhere so that you can open those websites right after this. Most of them are free. You don't do any subscription. The first website that you need is Grammarly. Why do you need Grammarly? It is a writing assistant for grammar, spelling, and style improvement. It provides real-time suggestions and corrections. The premium version includes the plagiarism detection. Number two, turn it in. That is turn it in. Turn it in. Why do you need turn it in? It detects plagiarism in academic papers and assignments. It compares submitted work to a vast database of existing content. Number three, Google Scholar. This is a search engine for scholarly articles, theses, books, and more. It helps writers to find authoritative sources for research. Number four, citation generator. It creates proper citations in various styles, that is APA, MLA, and even Chicago. It ensures accurate and consistent referencing of sources. Number five, JSTOR, that is JSTOR, JSTOR. Digital library with academic journals, books, and primary sources. Useful for in-depth research across different disciplines. And lastly, we have Cloud Convert. This one, it is an online tool for converting file formats, documents, images, audio, or even videos. It helps prepare content for different platforms or devices. Each and every time, whether you are a pro or a beginner, you must have those 6 tools. That is Grammarly, Turn It In, Google Scholar, Citation Generator, JSTOR, and Cloud Convert. Those are the very basic tools or websites that each and every writer should have, whether you are a beginner or a pro. Criteria for credible sources. Simply put, how to find credible sources online. Number one, start with scholarly databases. Begin searching your topic on online scholarly databases. Databases like JSTOR and Google Scholar offer access to recent research across various fields. Gauge the breadth of academic research on your topic after searching on those 2 databases, that is JSTOR and Google Scholar. Number 2, check newspapers and magazines. Get current information from newspapers and magazines. Browse through sources like New York Times, Time, and The Guardian. They provide insights into current events and trends. Number 3, use reliable books. Consider books available on googlebooks.com. Google Books categorizes book information like publishing agency and the page counts. Books can be free access or available in different categories. Number 4, check publication date. Prefer sources published within the last 5 years. That is very key for each and every academic writer. Always use sources within the last 5 years unless provided otherwise by the client or in the instructions. Recent sources are more credible and up to date. Number 5. Accessing difficult sources. When sources need login, consider Bugmenot for free logins. That is Bugmenot, Bugmenot for free logins. Library Genesis offers free book uploads. That is Library Genesis website. Use Sci-Hub to find academic articles using titles and DOIs. That is Sci-Hub, which is SCI, then Hub, HUB, to find academic articles using titles or DOI links. Number 7. Valuable online resources. Utilize citation machine or citation generator to search for sources using keywords. Explore databases like InfoTrack, LexisNexis, and EBSCO for academic content. InfoTrack, that is INFOTRSC, and LexisNexis, that is LEXIS, then NEXIS, and EBSCO for academic content. EBSCO is EBSCO for academic content. The 3 I've mentioned are all websites. Doge, ProQuest, and JSTOR offer extensive academic resources. Doge is DOAJ, then ProQuest is PROQUEST. And lastly, JSTOR is JSTOR. The 3 websites offer extensive academic resources. Finally, evaluative sources. Newspapers and magazines complement scholarly sources. Choose reputable, objective, and quality sources. Consider sources such as New York Times, Washington Post, and Time and the Newsweek. These types of magazines provide up-to-date information and they'll complement your scholarly sources. What should you avoid when checking for sources? Number 1, steer clear of aggregate content sites such as Wikipedia and Yahoo Answers. Number 2, avoid outdated sources. Sources published over 5 years ago, unless allowed or permitted by the client. Be cautious with social networks, be it posts, blogs, and .com or .org websites. Do not use Course Hero, Wikipedia, or academic sources that are purchase sites. Hope that is clear. Do not use Course Hero, Wikipedia, or academic sources that are from purchase sites. How do you do credibility check of the sources that you have identified online? Number 1, ensure authors are experts in relevant degrees and affiliations. That will always be provided in the source that you've checked. Authors should provide well-cited and objective information. Peer-reviewed articles are reliable. Find them in databases. Look for articles in reputable scholarly journals or academic presses. So, how do you assess source quality? You assess source quality by doing the following. Number 1, reliable sources have robust bibliographies or reference list. Any source that you get will always have a bibliography list or a reference list at the very end. Always confirm your source has that, especially the journal articles. Number 2, the content should be well organized, relevant, and well written. Sources should be PDFs or open access credible links. Lastly, avoid blogs, Wikipedia, social media, and sources older than 5 years. I'm still insisting, never use sources that are older than 5 years. So, how do you consider client instructions? Always include client provided references or links each and every time you're writing. If a client provides you with 2 sources, ensure they're included. And if you feel that you should exclude them, communicate that to the client before proceeding to exclude those sources. Always exceed the required number of references if needed. If a client wants 5 sources, it is okay to give them 6. But if they want 5, it is not okay or in line to give them 4 sources. Use sources according to client preferences. Stick to PDFs or open credible access links. Always give a source that you are certain that can be opened at each and every time, be it today, tomorrow, or even 1 year down the line. That is why you should use PDFs, because it is easy to download them, or links that are not closed, unlimited access, that is open access links. Then avoid using blogs, Wikipedia, social media, or all sources unless allowed. I'm still insisting on that. Never use blogs, Wikipedia, social media, or sources that are old, that is more than 5 years, unless permitted by the client. And that will only be in special cases. Then always remember the format. Confirm reference format using Google Scholar, citation generator, and etc. Share website links but avoid linking to other sources unless asked. Hope that is clear. Share website links but avoid linking to other sources unless asked. Unless a client requires you to link a source to another website, don't do it. Just provide the source as it is. Don't use extra links or external links that are in that particular source or in that particular website. Note this as a final point. Please follow client instructions and use sources as requested to be on the safer side. Always follow the client instructions and use sources as required. Grammar and punctuation. Word order. Standard English word order is the subject, verb, object order. Always when you're writing your sentences, ensure it has got the subject, the verb, and the object. It should always follow that order. Then use declarative sentences in academic essays. Number 2, subject-verb agreement. Ensure subjects and verbs match in number. Pay attention to coordinating and correlative conjunctions. Number 3, possession and contraction. Differentiate between its for possession and its for contraction. Avoid contractions in academic writing, just to ensure your writing is very smooth. On punctuation, use commas with coordinating conjunctions and dependent clauses. Employ commas for items in a series. Use semicolons and colons appropriately for sentence structure. Dashes emphasize content, while parentheses provide extra information. That should be very clear to you. Dashes emphasize content, while parentheses provide extra information. And finally, avoid comma splices. Use semicolons or conjunctions correctly. Number 5, articles. Use a or an for indefinite articles. Use they for definite articles. Then use no article for general concepts. Number 6, dates and numbers. Represent dates as day, month, year without punctuation. Represent dates as day, month, year without punctuation. Spell out numbers up to 9. Use numerals for 10 and above. Spell out numbers up to 9. That is, when you're writing 1 to 9, let them be spelled out or let them be worded. Use numerals for 10 and above. Write decades as words or numerals. It is okay to write decades as words or numerals. Use BC or AD for errors. Spell out numbers before numerals in lists. Use currency symbols before numbers. Use numerals for percentages and write out percent in text. Use numerals for percentages and write out percent in text. It is okay to write 7%. That is 7 as a numeral and percent as a word. Finally, formatting dates of life. Use common formats, that is shortened, born year, dash, and the year. Or extended, born date, dash, and the date. Plagiarism. Plagiarism is using someone else's ideas or words without giving proper credit. Plagiarism can be unintentional or intentional. Both should be avoided. You should avoid unintentional or intentional plagiarism. Turnitin report being clean doesn't guarantee absence of plagiarism. Common mistakes to avoid. Always cite the information you use, even if you paraphrase that information. Reusing information without proper citations is considered plagiarism, regardless of its widespread use. Tips to avoid plagiarism. What should you do in order to avoid plagiarism? Number 1, citing what should be cited. Another person's idea, opinion, or theory should always be cited. Uncommon facts, statistics, and even graphs should be cited. Direct quotations or paraphrased or summarized content should always be cited. Number 2, paraphrasing and summarizing. Summarize the main idea in your own words. Attribute to source. Paraphrasing needs attribution and page reference for specific ideas. Listen to this clearly. Paraphrasing needs attribution and page referrals or page reference for specific ideas. Valid citations, no fake sources. Fake sources are easily detected. Always use valid citations that can be verified. Credible sources prevent troubles. Number 4, consider paid plagiarism detection. Paid software like CopyLeaks can be more effective than Turnitin. So, where Turnitin fails, consider having CopyLeaks because it is more effective. Alternatives like PlagiScan or PlageAware are also options. Number 5, avoid paraphrasing tools. Paraphrasing tools often miss context. One of the paraphrasing tools is Quillbot. Avoid using Quillbot in academic writing. Manual paraphrasing with proper credit is better. Number 6, avoid cause hero or shared accounts. Cause hero and shared accounts risk data theft. Use trusted plagiarism check sources. Number 7, use credible sources. Cite information from trusted sources. Credible sources have identifiable authors, lack bias, and are up to date. So, what is the criteria for credible sources? They should have identifiable authors with credentials. They should have an unbiased perspective. They should have respected academic journals and authors. There should be no grammatical or stylistic errors. It should cite information from other works and provides links to factual or statistical data, generally not older than 5 years. Remember, proper citation using credible sources are essential to avoid plagiarism and ensure integrity of your work. The key to successful contracts. This information is vital for those who intend or who have academic writing accounts. Why is it important? Good communication with customers is vital for successful contracts. Poor communication skills can lead to lost opportunities for long-term cooperation. It can harm the company's reputation and result in loss of clients and possibly your own account. Common mistakes when bidding or contracting in academic writing. Poor writing skills can erode client trust. Failing to clarify instructions during bidding can lead to cancellations. Bad grammar and lack of proofreading in chat communication are very harmful. So, what are the tips for better bidding and communication on academic writing accounts? Tip number 1, approach orders carefully. Carefully read order instructions before bidding. Pay attention to any attached files. Instructions may always differ. Always ask questions before starting work. If the assignment is too complex or requires more pay, inform the client politely. Tip number 2, make a good first impression. Send a personalized message after placing a bid. Avoid using generic templates. Be specific to the order. Incorporate instructions into your bidding messages to show understanding. Stay connected. That is tip number 3. Stay online to improve your chance of winning contracts. Respond promptly to customer messages. Avoid sounding uninterested or detached in your replies. Cancel bids for urgent orders if you go offline. That is very clear. Cancel bids for urgent orders if you intend to go offline. Don't leave such bids open because they might compromise the client. Tip number 4, approach orders effectively. Ask for clarification when needed. Refer to initial instructions and previous chat discussions. Clarify the revision deadline for client clarity. Finish papers well before deadlines, especially for long-term orders. Avoid bidding on higher-level orders you can't handle. Provide a short summary of completed work in your final message. Tip number 5, proofread your messages. Bad grammar can lead to loss of client and issues. Proofread messages including grammar and word order. Consider using tools like Grammarly for assistance. Maintain a formal, polite, and friendly communication style. Tip number 6, avoid problematic language. Do not use inappropriate or unprofessional language. Avoid using kindly excessively or out of context. Use correct grammar like I am instead of am. Keep language clear and understandable. Avoid complex terms. Tip number 7, follow communication rules. Do not mention internal writer information or rules. Respect customer privacy. Do not reveal your location. Do not guarantee a specific grade. Promise quality instead. Use uppercase I when referring to yourself. Avoid spamming or begging customers for assignments. Address customers respectfully and avoid rushing messages. Avoid abusive language, which leads to penalties. Do not ask for clients' emails or offer direct services. Tip number 8, which is the final tip, focus on new clients. Explain everything clearly and show a positive attitude. Follow instructions and respond promptly to messages. Impressions you create affect your skills and company reputation. A chance to turn new clients into returning customers is due to the focus you give to such customers. Embrace academic writing as your catalyst for change. Armed with warmth and competence, words possess transformative power to kindle curiosity, reshape ideologies, and inspire across generations. Infuse warmth to foster connections, making your writing relatable and inviting. Showcase competence, solidifying your stance as a credible and influential voice. You are not just a writer, you are a knowledge architect, shaping the discourse. Merge empathy and expertise for an enduring impact on academia and beyond. Indomitable Tech has equipped you for this journey of words and wisdom. Step forward, wield your pen purposefully, and watch your ideas ripple outward. Let your academic prowess shine, leaving an imprint that transcends time. Keep writing, keep inspiring, and let your brilliance illuminate the path.